Sharing knowledge is not about giving people something or getting something from them. That's only valid for information sharing. Sharing knowledge occurs when people are genuinely interested in helping one another develop new capacities for action. It's about creating learning processes. Peter Senge. One idea that I think can change how you view the whole life is assumption awareness. It can change your perspective about many things in life. You can see how many things can be improved using this kind of awareness. And you can also see the reason of conflicts between people that arise because of lack of awareness of assumptions. Assumptions are around us, but what do I mean by assumptions? Assumptions are anything that we assume. Like what I mean here is action-driven assumptions. So action-driven assumptions are assumptions that we make in order to take action. Everything around us is an assumption from that viewpoint. So a building is an assumption. A book is an assumption. The clock is an assumption. A video is an assumption. Talking language is an assumption. From the perspective that, for example, let's take language for example. If we want to talk, we want to agree on what each word means. We want to agree on what a cup is, what a cat is, what a hat is. We want to agree on what each word means. So in order to do that, we need to come up with words. Those words are assumptions. Like, why do I call the cat cat? Why don't I call it kit or cot or anything else? It's just because we assumed that cat is what it means. So it's an assumption. Why do we write our thoughts in books? Maybe we can write them on walls, or maybe we can write them on sand, or we can write them on anything. Maybe we don't even need to write. Maybe we need to draw them. We can we can draw them, we can carve them, we can build them, make a building to represent a certain idea or a certain sentence. The idea is we need to assume things in order to do our goal. So if our goal is to express our ideas, we can write books, and we assume that writing is the way that we will convey information in. Other people can use audio, other people can use video, but all of these are action-driven assumptions. So we need to understand that those assumptions that we make are made only to achieve a certain outcome. They are not made because they are true. So it's not logical to defend our actions because we use certain assumptions. Like we can't say that books are the right way of learning, because you can learn through other methods. Books are just an assumption. Maybe they are the best way of learning, but you need to prove that not just because you assumed a certain idea, you assume it's the only true one. We have clocks and we have time zones. Like you can see in China, there is a single time zone in whole China, but around the world there are many time zones. Does having multiple time zones help anyone? I think maybe if we unite the whole world to a single time zone, we can unite our language. Like 5 p.m. is 5 p.m. all around the world. Isn't that a good thing? Isn't that something that we want, instead of converting time zones? Instead of having multiple languages around the world, we can have a single language, like a global language. Instead of translating books, instead of translating everything, we just agree on the language and use it all around the world. I'm not saying we should use English or use a certain language. Maybe we can create a whole new language that's much better than any other language. A language that can incorporates all the good parts of all the language around the world. And maybe we can also use time zones in a new way. Maybe instead of dividing the clock into 12 hours, maybe we can have 60 hours in the day instead of 12, or maybe another number. The idea is we can research that, we can update that. But a lot of things that we have in our life are assumptions from the past. For example, before the internet, we used to share information through books. We used to have schools and teachers. But nowadays, we are still using the same system. Like teaching is an assumption. Like if you want to give your information to someone else, it's an assumption that you need to talk to them. Maybe there are other methods we can think of, but in schools we are still using the same method, which is a teacher explaining the lessons to the students, instead of having a united school around the world. Maybe we can unite the whole world into a single school with a single language, and we can have, like, we can teach all the world the same thing. Maybe this can help us understand each other better, instead of having a culture barrier, instead of having problems in communicating. If we try to do the right thing, we will eventually achieve a better outcome, because truth always leads to the right thing. Like if you use truth, you will always reach the goal. So there are many forms of assumption that we can see in our world today, still in zodiac signs, in personality types, in stereotyping in general. we always make assumptions about people and about cultures, and those assumptions sometimes are emotional, like emotional assumption. If you don't like someone, you attribute that to something else, like because he has this personality type, or because he is from that particular culture, or from that gender, and or from like you misattribute the bad behavior to someone, to something else. Instead of blaming the person, you blame the culture, or blame something that that has nothing to do with the problem. And this has many problems, like using emotions to make assumptions will lead to something else other than the truth. And like we can agree that truth is the only way that doesn't cause problems. Like if you use anything other than the truth, you will find problems. If you judge based on stereotypes, you will face problems, because it's not the truth, because there are no stereotypes. Stereotypes are just something in our minds. It's not really something that's in real life. So if we become more aware of our action-based or action-driven assumptions, we can rethink our lives. We can rethink how we do things in our lives. So should we make no assumptions at all? Assumptions are useful, like making assumptions to take action. This is useful as long as you are aware that those are assumptions. The moment that you switch your thinking from seeing assumptions as assumptions into seeing assumptions as facts, problems start to arise. Assumptions are just assumptions. So what is the reason of making assumptions? One reason is figuring things out. Like there's the term fog of war, which is in strategy games, like you move around the map in order to remove that fog of war, in order to see the picture more clearly. This is one useful benefit of assumptions. If you make assumptions in order to explore new territories, new ideas that you are not aware of, it's useful to make assumptions as long as they don't have negative consequences. So you can make assumptions in order to figure out something. Because if you want, for example, to share your ideas, and instead of writing a book or recording a video, you decide that you don't want to make assumptions and you want to research what is the best way of sharing your ideas. Maybe you will go on researching and you won't find an answer. You won't find any answer to your question. So you might not explore other things if you get stuck at one point. You want to move one step forward, and in order to move forward, you want to make action-driven assumptions. And if you make action-driven assumptions, you might fall into that trap of thinking that assumptions are facts. But as long as you are aware of this, you are aware of assumptions, you are good. You will understand that those assumptions are just for making assumptions or for making actions. So sometimes it's said that when you see both points of views, you are more aware of the world. Like generally in our lives, you are either either a socialist or you're not. You are either support the right or the left. There's like you need to choose a side. You can't just take parts of certain ideology and ignore take other parts from the opposite ideology. Like you always need to pick a side. Whenever you pick a side, you ignore parts of the picture. And when you ignore parts of the picture, and that's okay as long as you are aware of your ignorance. The moment that you forget that you ignored parts of the picture, everything fails. You fight with other people because you think that you have the truth and they don't have the truth. You reach false outcomes. Every bad thing happens. Aligning with one ideology over the other is just a matter of betting. You are betting on one ideology over the other. It has nothing to do with facts. So if we are aware of that, if we are aware of that all ideologies hold some truth and some bad sides, if we are aware of the good parts and the bad parts, we can improve and reach good outcomes and get the benefits from both sides. The moment that we think that one ideology is totally true and the other ideology is totally false, at this point we are believing in lies, believing in wrong ideas, and we start to fight each other over who's right and who's wrong, despite that everybody is half blind to the picture. So this idea can also manifest in depression. Like when someone is depressed because of a bad life experience, like instead of attributing this bad behavior to its causes, like people can attribute the bad behavior to the wrong things. Like if you are aware that there are bad people, like not totally bad, but people who can do bad things, however bad they are, like if you accept this fact and accept that some people use action-driven assumptions to do bad things, You can realize that if you realize that this is just something from the past, you can ignore it and just go on with life. So in conclusion, we can make action-driven assumptions as long as they don't contradict facts, like don't harm other people because you have a certain assumption. If a certain assumption allows you to harm or hurt other people, you might need to rethink that assumption. You have facts like people get hurt and getting hurt is bad, and you have assumptions like achieving a certain goal. So you need to see assumptions as assumptions, see facts as facts. Make assumptions in order to explore new ideas, explore and see the whole picture in order to see the truth and to reach your goal. So I hope this idea is useful for you. Thank you for watching.